When you're ready to do a mailing, SuccessWare makes this easy. You can print your mailing labels directly through SuccessWare. If you come to the People menu and select Print or Export Mailing, you'll see we have a window where we can print labels for our clients, relations, or prospects. If you want to print to all of them, just make sure each box is selected. In cases where you only want to select clients, make sure that is the only box that's checked. If you need to search through your database, there's a search option here. You can select Open Search Window, click on More Choices, and search through your entire database for just the right group of clients you need to market to. When you print your labels through the Print Export Mailing window, anyone who has been marked as no direct mail is automatically taken out of the list. You don't have to do any searching to pull them out ahead of time. The default down at the bottom is to print or export addresses in uppercase, which is preferred by the post office. This is just an option, so feel free to uncheck this if that's not how you want them to print out. If this is the first time you're printing a label through SuccessWare, we'll need to make a slight adjustment if you're using the Avery 5160. The Avery 5160 is one of the most common mailing labels. If I click on my Print button and select Print Mailing Labels, I'll have an option to edit. Again, if this is the first time you're printing labels through SuccessWare, go ahead and click on the Edit button. Start at your Layout tab. Our Layout tab has all of the different dimensions and margins that we need to make sure everything prints out properly on our labels. Down at the bottom, we have a button that says Load. When you click on the Load button at the bottom of the screen, it may not bring you directly to the correct location. Make sure you go into your main SuccessWare folder and then open the subfolder named Label Formats. Within your Label Formats folder, we'll open the Mailing Labels folder, Plain Address Labels, and you'll see now we have our different Avery templates. If I select the Avery 5160 and click Open, you'll notice my template on the right-hand side has updated. I now have 3 across and 10 down. To make sure everything prints out properly, change the drop-down menu that says Point to Inch. Now increase your left margin and your top margin. Your top margin should be increased to 0.75. It's going to bring down the list a little bit, and then your left margin needs to be increased to 0.45. This is going to shift everything over to the right. Now it looks like it's outside of our margins, but these are the appropriate settings for the Avery 5160 and any label template that is comparable to the Avery 5160. These are the only changes you need to make on this Layout tab. You can see that you have some additional options for how this prints out. The orientation up at the top can be changed from portrait to landscape, and the order in which the labels will print out can go across or they can go vertical. You'll never have to waste a partially printed sheet of labels because you can tell SuccessWare where to begin the first record. If I'm a little bit less than halfway through the page, I simply click on where I want the first record to print, and SuccessWare will start at that exact location. When you come back over to your Label tab, make sure you click and drag the field of name and address over onto your sample label. Now this sample white label, this determines not only what's printed on each label, but also how it's going to be printed. You'll see that when I clicked and dragged over the field I wanted, I now have these small boxes in each of the 4 corners of my text. These small boxes actually define our printable area. So make sure you drag them out so that you have one box touching each of the 4 corners of your sample label. Just make sure that they don't overextend into the gray area. If they're in slightly, that's not a problem. You just want to make sure you're using up as much of the sample label as you can. Down below, you can change your text options as well as your different styles of text. It's recommended that you don't go too much over the 9-point font because you are dealing with a small space and you don't want anyone's name or street address to get cut off. Since this is just a simple name and address mailing label, this is the only information I'm going to put on my sample template. Always save after you've made a custom template and give it a very detailed name. I'm going to name this Print Export 5160. By naming it Print Export 5160, I know what area of the software this was created and what area it can be printed from. By putting the name of the label template, I know this works for anything that's comparable to 5160. I can save this in my main mailing labels folder or any other subfolder you want to. Just make sure you and your staff knows exactly where you saved your custom template. If I click print, I can go ahead and pull up a preview of our label information. You can see that it's starting partially down the page. I have all of my clients' names and addresses. For those that are CAS certified, there is a zip code count page that you can print out. If you're not CAS certified, this window does still come up, but all you have to do is click done. One of the best parts about printing your labels directly through SuccessWare is you have the ability to log the correspondence history. We just printed out labels for over 1,000 clients, almost 2,000 clients. I would hate to have to go through each record and put a note on each client file that I sent a mailing out. When you do this through SuccessWare and you have your correspondence history set to ask if you'd like to log the correspondence, all you have to do is click log and then enter a description of what this mailing was for. If it was a promotional piece, if it was a new discount, or just a newsletter that's going out, put in whatever type of description best suits the mailing you just did. Once you enter it, you'll be asked if this is valid and if you'd like to add it to the list. If the label's printed successfully, click yes and you're done. Now again, like I mentioned before, these steps are only if you've never set up a mailing template before. Since we've already set up our template, if I were to start from the beginning, go to the People menu and select Print or Export Mailing. If now, let's say I want to do a mailing for my prospects, all I have to do is click on the Print button, select Print Mailing Labels. I'm going to bypass the edit window. I don't need to edit anything this time because I've already created my template. I can simply click print. Locate the template that you've saved, click open, and it's going to go straight to your printer. It's much faster once you have your template already created.